In its quest to provide an open forum for discussion of controversial issues, this station allows hosts and their guests to express themselves without any significant censorship. You're advised that any views expressed by the hosts or their guests are not necessarily the views of Togi Entertainment or its partners.
Motherhood Incorporated proudly presents Military Mom Talk Radio live on TogiNet.com. Co-hosted by Robin Boyd and Sandra Beck, the owner of Motherhood Incorporated. Military Mom Talk Radio is here with a powerful platform for women to discuss their ideas, issues, and concerns with respect to the military lifestyle. Military Mom Talk Radio encourages you to share your experiences of being a military wife and mother. This show is dedicated to educating your family about the many resources that are available in both the public and private sector, and we'll be sharing helpful information from women all over the world. We'll cover everything military, from helping a family member cope with post-traumatic stress disorder, to navigating government programs dealing with family issues, to the struggles of deployment, along with being a working mother both in and out of the home. This is Military Mom Talk Radio, and here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we've got a jam-packed show today, Robin. I'm flying by the seat of my pants. How about you?
We're always prepared. You're not supposed to tell everybody our secrets.
No, but honest to God, 7 airports in 4 days. I think I should get a medal for that.
You are amazing. You have to tell everybody you spent some time last week at Fleet Week in New York City, and we are so pleased that you took part in that. What a wonderful event.
It was, and it recognized our women in service. 20% of our military personnel are female. It also recognized our military families. But you know what, Robin? Enough about me, because tomorrow's Motherhood Talk radio show, which airs on the same station at 3 o'clock, is going to feature Linda Franklin and Trish Rubin, who were the coordinators of the Shining Service event, and we're going to talk about that event tomorrow. Motherhood Talk radio has graciously allowed us to have that airtime to talk about it, so you guys make sure you tune in. But we're going to get right to our first guest. We have 4 guests today. We have Mark Williams from the Edge 100K. Then we're going to welcome Candi Wingate. She's an award-winning, nationally recognized child care expert. She also is the founder of Nannies for Hire, Babysitters for Hire, and Care for Hire. And both of those guests are part of our Small Business Expo. Third segment, we're going to welcome Allison Mewes, and she has written this great book and this great website called Intro to Army Life, and she's the proud wife of an Army soldier, and she has documented her experiences entering the Army lifestyle, which is a must-read for everybody. And then we have our favorite guest, our favorite writing guest, Joyce Faulkner. I can't say favorite guest, I could get in a lot of trouble today.
Yeah, we have.
Joyce Faulkner is the president of Military Writers Society of America, and we're going to have one of our writing segments today. What do you think, Rob?
Awesome. We have such interesting people. I can't wait to meet Mark. Well, re-meet him. We've had him here before.
We've had him here before. He's an oldie but a goodie. We'll keep him. He's going to talk today on behalf of the Edge 100K, talking about the power of no in our sales and personal lives. Mark, are you on the air?
Sandra.
Yay! Hi, Mark.
Hi, everybody. Who's on besides Sandra, and who else there?
It's Robin.
Oh,
Out
Robin.
here in New Hampshire. That's why you couldn't hear me, because I'm talking all the way from New Hampshire.
Rockin' Robin. Nice.
So, Mark, you have had incredible sales success, and you have developed a wonderful program called the Edge 100K that helps people, not only salespeople, but it helps in your personal life too, to talk about the power of saying no. And that's an interesting concept, because most sales systems, most things that are taught even in today's school systems are all about, well, you should be everybody's friend. You should say yes a lot. You should, pursue this thing. You talk about the power of no. Can you give me a little bit of background on how you came about the power of no, and how does that affect us in our daily lives?
Absolutely. I'd love to. How it came about is, a long story, but a lot of trial and error. But the first thing I remember was when I was a graduating from college, the dean of students at our college, who became a good friend of mine, helped me out in many times of trouble, became a really good friend. And I was graduating, and I saw him in the hallway. You know, it was kind of a sad moment. And he said, "Hey, Mark, I just want to say one last thing before we, part ways, and you have a great life." And I'm like, "What's that?" He goes, "Oh, I just wanted to give you one word of advice." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Learn how to say no. Take care." And at that time, I really had no clue what he was talking about. I was 22 years old, and it maybe took probably 10 years to understand, like, the depth of that statement, but it really sunk in down the road, and now it's one of the critical steps of my selling system, and it's just been Dean Malovich from St. Thomas, but it's just, it saves you a lot of time, and it makes your life a lot easier. It's difficult to learn, but, everything worthwhile takes a little practice, and it's never easy, so that's how it came about.
No.
I was going to say time management. I was just going to say time management is the essence of every business, and saying no sometimes is just one component of good time management.
Rob, I think you're exactly right. It's also the opportunity cost lost, and that's a big fancy term to say, what are you missing by not turning down something that either doesn't serve you, you're chasing down a client that won't perform. You have everybody has these same 24 hours in the day. And so being discerning with your time, and we're not inexhaustible resources, Mark, as much as we want to think we are, when we say yes to things that we shouldn't, and you can give us some examples of types of business people we shouldn't say yes to. You've got some great names for them. There's like Larry Looky Loo or whatever it is. You can tell us about that because they really resonate.
Oh, my favorite. Timmy Time Waster or Linda Looky Loo or, Kenny No Cash or Eddie the Egomaniac. And, it works in business. It works in relationships. The best way to get a grasp on it is everybody can relate to when they're, in a bad relationship and they know they should walk away, but for some reason they don't because it's just human nature. We want to be liked. We want to say yes. Everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody has a high need for approval. And, it goes back to when you were a kid. Like, you want to fit in and you want to belong and you want to, when somebody asks you to do something or come somewhere, we want to say yes. And sometimes it can really take its toll. And these people or these relationships, as you get older, you end up looking at your life saying, hey, like, am I where I want to be? And you have to find that discipline where you can just say, you know what, this isn't a healthy relationship for me. This client isn't healthy for me. Even though they look good on paper, maybe they have all the money in the world, maybe they're going to buy someday, but, they just don't treat you nice, or, for some reason your instinct says this person is mean or just not a fit. Well, people ignore that instinct, and I'm just trying to help people redevelop their instinct that's already in there. And when you come across a bad apple, just run away, because there's so many, like you said, the opportunity cost. There's so many other people that are grateful for your help, and we call them ideal clients that love working with you and appreciate your time and won't abuse you. And again, it works in relationships and business and time management, like Robin was saying.
Well, and especially in our military families where we're taught to, yes, sir, no, sir, right away, sir, straighten up and fly right, sir, absolutely, sir. When military families go out into the civilian world and they become entrepreneurs, they have such a great work ethic and they have such great public service already, built into them. One of the things that's very difficult for our military family entrepreneurs is to say no. And this applies, like you said, to our personal life, to our professional life. Robin, do you remember when you first started your business saying no? Like, I was so afraid to say no to a client because I didn't have a lot of clients.
Absolutely. And you want to try and say, oh, I can get one more job in. But if you don't have the man hours and the time to do that quality work, you're only putting yourself more in the ground because you're not giving a quality product or service, and that's not going to perpetuate into better business down the road.
I agree 100%.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Well, no, I was just going to say, and I'm sure Mark has had this time and time again with people trying to say how one has to really put their best foot forward, and you just can't do everything and do it well. You have to choose what you're going to do and is what's best for your business and what's best for you.
So, Mark, we have about 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
What's your best piece of advice? I know. Fast. You got to keep up with us, man. We just rock and roll on here.
Right when it's getting fun, I got to go. See, that's the. Okay, what was your question? The last question.
What's your best piece of advice? And you've got about a minute before Robin needs to close the segment. What's your best piece of advice for military families and the power of saying no in their entrepreneurial vision?
I would say as you venture out there, instead of trying to figure out, basically to disqualify people, instead of trying to qualify them, just look at them from the beginning, pretend that, nobody's a fit, and the person whose actions and attitude and, kindness levels and somebody you look up to as they earn their way into your, what you're looking for, then they become a client. But at first, you flip it and look at it as disqualifying people instead of trying to qualify them.
Wow, that's amazing advice, Mark. Mark, I want to make sure that we give your website out there so that people can follow up with you. And, of course, we'll have you back another time. We love having you here. We want to make sure everyone visits Mark Williams at edge100k.com. And that's 100 and then the letter K.com, edge100k.com. Mark Williams, it's always a pleasure. And as I say, we'll definitely have you back because we know how much you love being with us.
Couldn't think of anything better. You guys qualified for sure.
All
right. Good, we make the list.
Love y'all. Thank you so much. Till next time.
Okay. On the other side of the break, we've got Candi Wingate. She's an award-winning and nationally recognized child care expert. She has lots to share with us. Be back in a moment.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Do holidays and celebrations get you down and leave you feeling frazzled? Then join Sandy Fowler and her guests on Heart-Filled Holidays every Monday at noon, 11 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Sandy will help you discover the secrets to having the celebrations you've always dreamed of while adding fun and meaning to your life. From Valentine's Day to Christmas to special family events, Sandy Fowler will show you how to put the fun and meaning back into those special days by taking a look at what we can do to turn the upcoming holidays into cherished memories and show us how to allow it to intertwine with everyday life. For more on the show, Sandy, and to receive Sandy's Holiday Happiness booklet, go to heartfilledholidays.com. Then get set to discover the secrets to creating happy holidays and happy everydays by joining Sandy Fowler and her guests on Heart-Filled Holidays every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time on TogiNet.com.
Friday Night Camp Radio, 10 p.m. to midnight with Christy and Laura on TogiNet.com. Broadcasting from their scrappy kitchen in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. They've got nothing better to do than riff with their favorite Brooklyn-based independent vendors, artists, bands, bartenders, foodies, weirdos, and news stories. Featuring the live studio audience. Betty Rehab and the Gay Boys. Sex and dating commentary with the Impersonals. The unknown political masked man. and people who kind of know stuff. Stream on after your long week. Brooklyn's variety show of madcap intellectualism. Friday Nightcap Radio with Laura and Christy, 10 to midnight Eastern on TogiNet.com. Radio like you've never seen.
You put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd. And for those of you that missed the first segment, we had Mark Williams of the Edge 100K talking about the power of no in our sales and our personal life as part of our small business expo that we're having over this 10-week period. We're going to welcome now Candi Wingate. She's an award-winning, nationally recognized child care expert. God, did I need you this week. You're not kidding, boy. Single mom, 2 kids, brutal. She owns Nannies for Hire, Babysitters for Hires, and careforhire.com. And I got to tell you, I went on one of these sites. I don't remember which one it is, but I think it was Care for Hire initially. We have to ask her. 8 years ago when I first had my son, and I was like, crap, I don't know anything about birthing babies, much less raising them, and I got to get back to work. So, Candi, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me as well.
So what is Nannies for Hire? Now, I was a nanny. I got to tell you, I wasn't a good one. I was a lot of fun. I wouldn't say that the kids were fed necessarily well, clothed well, but they had a whole lot of fun, and they were in my wedding.
Well, that's all right. It sounds like you had a great relationship with them, and everybody, the memories obviously still go on. So you did something right.
Something, yeah. I was better as a nanny than as a mom. Is that normal?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was better as a nanny than a mom. I actually paid more attention. I shouldn't
well,
say
you know
that,
what?
should
I think as a mom, we try to juggle so much, and there's so much going on every day, and you're not only worrying about the kids and the kids' activities, but it's like, what are we going to have for supper? Okay, where do each kids need to be drove to? On top of it, all the homework. So you know what? As a mom, we just juggle it, and we try to put the pieces in. Where you're a nanny, you get to have the fun that so many parents actually miss out on.
Well, and you get paid. You get paid to parent, and they pay for all the fun things you do. It's kind of like practice parenting.
Exactly. Yeah. Any activities, any outings, or anything fun that you do with the kids, the parents pay for all that. So it's like you get the best of everything, because not only are you getting paid to have fun, you're getting all the fun out of it as well, and get the enjoyment and get a great relationships. That sounds like you did as well.
Yeah, wow. I thought so.
Candi, what's the difference between nannies and babysitters and caring? If you have 3 separate entities, they must be very different in service.
Yes, nanniesforhire.com focuses directly on nannies and nannies only. Our nannies on here are only good for 35 days, so the nannies' profiles are never old, they're never stale. There's always new nannies coming in. So if a nanny's not logging into her account, she's going to be deleted off the site as well. And it's a very easy-to-use concept. How it works is families go online and they punch in their zip code, their postal code, because we also place in Canada. And then you punch that in, and it's going to bring up all the different nannies within your area that are looking for positions. And so every day there's new nannies registering as well, so there's always fresh people in there actually looking for employment. But not only if you're looking for full-time, maybe you're just looking for somebody for the summer, or maybe you're looking for somebody part-time or before or after school care. I think so many families think a nanny has to be full-time, and that's not true. I mean, you can hire somebody just for the summer because you need that extra pair of hands, and you need that break from your kids because you need to go to work, but your kids need out of the house to do activities, and they need to be carpooled and drove around as well.
And that's where the Babysitters for Hire comes in?
Yeah, well, babysittersforhire.com is strictly, it's babysitters. It's because you need a date night with your husband. You need one-on-one with your friends. You need some time away. So you need a babysitter for 4 hours, or possibly you're a parent and you need to travel out of town for 2 days for your job. And so that's where Babysitters for Hire come in. Sometimes you move to a new community, as military families do. They don't know anybody. It's like, where can we... Yeah, we need to find somebody who can come in because we still need to go to work, or we still need some time for our family, husband and wife relationship, or whatever it might be. And that's where Babysitters for Hire comes in. Very easy concept as well. Punch in your zip code, whole list of babysitters that will come up that's actually available within your area that are actually looking for employment. And when you hire a babysitter, it does not have to be full-time. It can be for as few as 4 hours. It could be as much as 24 hours.
I have to say, I had a mother's helper when I was when our business was running full time, and it wasn't that I was out of the house, but I needed the time to be able to focus. I was either talking to clients or was doing whatever, and I just needed a mother's helper that was able to engage the kids constructively and just make sure that they didn't hurt themselves or get into what they shouldn't, and to be able to engage them. So I can, and especially if you are rotating living quarters or whatever, if you are moving frequently, that is so hard because you're trusting your children in someone who you don't know, and that's very difficult.
Robin, the way you say that is so beautiful because I can tell your kids are grown. Because when you're at my level, where your kids now are 5 and 8, and when I started my business, they were 3 months old and 2.5 years old. They were in my office, one in a playpen, the other one I used to strap in his car seat because I couldn't afford childcare at that point. But you go,
what age? That's about what my age. I have to say, my kids were toddlers when I
were they little ones. I was so ready to hand them over to anyone with a pulse. Honest to God, if you weren't a pedophile, a serial killer, or a rapist, you got the job. Now,
and that's the funny thing.
Do you work with respite care, with the military respite care that's available?
Yes, actually, there's all different types of services that we work with as well. And then on top of that, I laughed because you said there's so many parents who do work from home. Or, you know what, you know how it is, you're trying to get something done at home. You have company coming and you can't seem to get anything done. There are families out there who hire a babysitter to come in for 4 hours because, I need to clean my house, or I really need to go to the grocery store by myself, or, I really just need a little break. So everybody, it's okay to say I need a helping hand, or you know what, I can't seem to juggle this. You know what, we're not super mom, we're not super woman, we're not super nanny. You know what, we are normal people, and it's okay to say, hey, I need extra pair of hands.
Well, the military recognizes it with their respite care on deployment, right, Rob?
Yeah, and actually, before I got into that, I did want to qualify or ask how you qualify. How do you screen your nannies?
Yeah, we're going to highly recommend that every family, takes a little bit of extra time to do some references on the person they hire. Whether you're going to hire your next door neighbor, whether you're going to take your kids to a center, or you're going to hire a babysitter or a nanny, take a few minutes to actually ask the nanny some questions when you interview her, or ask that caregiver some questions. Why are you looking to get into child care? What's your past experience been? Oh, you said you worked in a daycare. Did they run background checks on you, and what did they do? But why did you leave that job? Take some time to ask some questions so you get a clear understanding of the person that you're hiring, their background. When you have a clear understanding of their background, ask her for a few references. The more people that you can talk to that they have done child care for, the better. And when you're calling their references, ask for landlines, because you can verify those numbers instead of cell numbers. So definitely ask for those landlines. And when you're on the phone with them, hey, how long did she provide child care for you? What activities did your kids all do? So get a feel for what her responsibilities were when she was there. But on top of that, I'm highly going to recommend, no matter who you hire, to run a background check. Run a multi-state criminal history. On top of that, if your caregiver is going to be driving your children around, you need to find out a little information about her driving record to make sure your sitter is actually in good hands as well. All these background checks can actually be performed on any of our websites, nanniesforhire.com or careforhire.com or babysittersforhire.com as well.
That's so important, because when your family member is on deployment, and this can, apply to husbands and wives, and the government recognizes this through respite care, to be able to hand your kids over to someone where you don't have to worry. Like my nanny, Anna, she's been with me forever. I can give her my kids, I can take a bath, I can go to sleep, I can go do what I need to do and not have a care in the world because she has been completely checked out. Now, granted, after 8 years, she's wonderful. But to have that peace of mind, you don't get that when you pull somebody out of the newspaper. And in deployment situations, Candi, people need that kind of support.
They do. They need that person that they can rely on, that when they walk out of the house, that those children are in good hands, and in the back of their mind that you're in good hands, and your expectations, your household rules are going to be followed. And, we really stress that just because a nanny is walking in or a babysitter is walking in, there shouldn't be chaos. The exact same expectations you have as a parent should be followed through by your caregiver, so that there's consistency for the children throughout.
So me giving them soda and candy every night because they loved me was probably
maybe wasn't really the right decision, but you thought it was.
I know, because now I'm mean old mom, and Anna gives them the candy and stuff they want.
Oh, gosh.
Maybe
we want to make
sure. Maybe you should have checked with the parents and asked them exactly what they expected before that evening snack. What that really should consist of.
Yeah, apples. That's going to make them like me.
Oh,
yeah.
Gosh. Candi, we want to make sure that we put your websites out there. That's Nannies, NANNIES, 4, hire, HIRE.com. And it's the same for babysitters, 4, hire.com, and care, 4, hire.com. This is for Candi Wingate, and you'll find out lots more when you visit any of those sites. Thanks so much, Candi, for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Remember, moms, it's okay to get an extra pair of hands. It will definitely make your life easier.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, I'm sure people will be turning to you. On the other side of the break, we have Allison Mewes. She is the proud wife of an Army soldier and has the greatest book for anyone getting into the Army life. Be back in a moment.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Girlfriended is on TogiNet. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, with your hosts Patty Wyatt and Lisa Jernigan. This show is your chance to share, learn, laugh, and connect with other women. The Girlfriended principle was born out of loss.
Lisa had recently had her mother pass away from cancer, and my mom was murdered. A man just walking into a room and started a 23-second shooting spree.
I think one of the things we both realized going through those tragedies that you can be extremely okay and be extremely sad.
Check out girlfriended.com. And then be a part of Girlfriended, the radio show. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central.
You know, your boyfriend or your husband or whatever, they don't totally understand that emotional side to them like another woman does. And I think that's so important just to have somebody that you go, she gets me.
Check out the website, girlfriended.com. Don't miss Girlfriended with Patty Wyatt and Lisa Jernigan. Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Nevermore. People have the means to live, but no meaning to live for. These are the words of Dr. Viktor Frankl, the inspiration for the movie Victor and I. That's VIKTOR and I, movie.com. And TalkSense Radio, The Meaning Connection, with host Mary Simaluka and frequent contributor Alexander Vesley. Friday afternoons at 3, 2 Central on TogiNet.com. More and more people today are discarding their quest for money, possessions, and things, and are instead beginning a serious quest to find meaning in life. Until now, these discussions were historically in the hands of priests, ministers, and scribes, then to philosophers, psychiatrists, and psychologists. Now, these deep discussions are where they should be, in the hands of individuals, on the air with you. Talk Sense Radio, The Meaning Connection, with your host, Mary Simaluka, and frequent contributor, Alexander Vesley. Friday afternoons at 3, 2 Central, on TogiNet.com.
There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms. This is Sandra Beck. I'm here with Robin Boyd. And for those of you that missed the first half of the show, my God, it's going fast. We had Mark Williams of the Edge 100K talking about the power of no in your selling and your personal life. Second segment, we welcomed Candi Wingate, an award-winning, nationally recognized child care expert, and she is the founder, and think of this with the number 4, Nannies for Hire, Babysitters for Hire, and Care for Hire. She's just like the Uber nanny agency, so you got to check her out. It's one of the largest, most successful online nanny and family database serving the United States and Canada, and she also gets respite care. So for those of you who are eligible for respite care while your partners are on deployment, take advantage of it, because, boy, we all need help. And now we're going to go to Allison Mewes, and she so gets, like, you know, the mom award because she's expecting her first baby in less than 3 weeks, and she's on the air with us today. I wouldn't do it, but I'm so glad you do.
Horror stories with the babysitting and the nanny. She's not going to want to.
She's like, oh my God, pedophile. Oh, well, she is the author of this amazing book. You know, every once in a while, Rob, I have to go off on just a really, really great idea, and I can't believe nobody's done it yet. And she did it. She wrote a book called Intro to Army Life. And it's everything you need to know to get through the first years as an Army spouse or like an Army girlfriend or significant other. Because no one hands you this guidebook when you enter into Army life. And Rob, how many times on the air have we heard people say to our spouses and girlfriends and boyfriends, well, you should have known what you were getting into. You knew this was the Army, or you knew this was the Navy. Well, how the hell do you know what you don't know?
That's right. You don't know. But now we do because of Allison's book.
So, Allison, are you with us? Maybe she went into labor.
No, I'm here. Sorry, I just heard a little static.
Oh, okay. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Now, you're up in Boise, Idaho. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm in Boise, Idaho. My husband is an active duty National Guardsman, and he's stationed here at Gowan Field. So most people don't think of Boise, Idaho as a big Army installation, but there's quite a few thousand citizen soldiers around here.
Well, that's what I thought. When I saw Boise, I'm like, what are you doing up in Boise? But then again, you know, who am I to ask?
Yeah, we're sprinkled just all across the state, so we're not in one central location.
So how'd you come up with the idea of Intro to Army Life? Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant idea, I got to tell you.
Oh, thank you. I loved what you said about you just don't know if you don't know. And that was really kind of how I felt when we met on a blind date. I had never been involved in a military lifestyle or had a military boyfriend, and like very quickly I kind of found out that it's a little bit of a subculture, and I had no idea. A little bit. A little bit of a subculture, and I'm just a really curious person, so I kind of want to know like what I'm getting into, and I want to talk the same language that, you know, he was talking, understand what he was saying, and really I just kind of started gathering all the questions that I had, and I just thought this could really help somebody else like me who's just starting to date, an Army soldier or, kind of just married an Army soldier and he's gone off to a year-long deployment and they're just lost. And there's just a lot of things that nobody tells you. And I didn't, like you said, there was no other book out there like this. It was just short, concise, to the point. And so I thought, heck, I'll just write one.
Well, and I love that you put in the top 5 Army acronyms because, it's like I was raised, with a dad in the Navy and, I was around the military subculture, I don't know, for like 20 years. So I picked up all these acronyms. And when I go into the civilian arena, I'm like, okay, GTG, blah, 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 blah. And they look at me like I'm speaking another language. And it really is another language.
It is. It definitely is. And I find myself using those acronyms now to my family, and they're like, I have no idea what you just said. And, and
it is. It's like a secret code.
It is. And there's so many acronyms. Like, my husband is saying them all the time. They have acronyms for acronyms. So there's no way.
Hey, I got to tell you, Allison, the first show we did on Military Mom was it NACRA, Robin? It was the National Association of Child Care, I don't know, AA something, but it was NAACRAA.
It was the longest acronym. It really was. That was the beginning.
Sometimes we even still get guests on that use, like when we had the DOD education.
Yes, DODEA, yeah.
DODEA, yeah. Like DODEA. There's just, everything is abbreviated.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
And, it's so overwhelming. When I look at this book that you wrote, I smile just over and over because, the Army hierarchy, the social structure, then you've got deployment, you put in the perks of a military ID, you've got military discounts in there, resources for military children. I mean, these are stuff that you had to learn the hard way because they just don't handle anything.
No, they don't. I mean, I think you're kind of lucky if you get invited to a barbecue and meet somebody, really. Or if you find out about the FRG group and where it is and what time to show up. I mean, it's like nobody really tells you. You have to go out and seek all that information yourself. And how can you seek that information out if you don't even know it exists?
Well, and that's where your FRO comes in because, your FRO, your family readiness officer, is supposed to do some of this stuff. Well, they don't. Sometimes you have a good one. Sometimes you've got one that's completely overwhelmed, or you don't even know what a FRO is, or that your FRO is supposed to help you. I mean, it's so difficult. And if you're a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you're not even eligible for half of this stuff.
Right. Right. You're exactly right.
I was going to say what's difficult, too, is that if you are a newlywed and all of a sudden, boom, they do get deployed, you are sort of stuck in the lurch because you at least, if they're around, you can say, what do you have this officer that I can turn to? But if they're gone, you really are stuck. So this is just marvelous that we have this resource.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that happens a lot. I think, a lot of people rush to get married before deployment.
Of course.
Because you get a little bit more pay and you're going to be without that person for a year and everything else that goes along with that. You kind of rush into a quickie marriage, and then when they're gone, you're kind of left in a lurch like, oh, my goodness, I may not have even met all of his friends yet and their wives. And
sure.
So.
Well, and then you have the issue of reservists. We have all these military reservists, and some of our reservists are doing as much or more time than some of our active duty. I know the National Guard was calling up a bunch of people. So now you've got even one step more removed because you're a reservist family.
Right, and that's kind of where I found myself because, my husband, he's active duty National Guard, so he does go to work there every day, which is a little bit different than most National Guardsmen. But but we don't live on an installation, and we're spread out all over the community. So he really helped me before he left by introducing me to all of his Army friends. He has Army friends and non-Army friends, but he introduced me to his Army friends and their wives, and just made a point to bring all of us together as much as possible before he left, just to kind of help connect me and plug me in, with the resources and people who are going through the same thing, just so I could have that support network while he was gone.
So if you had this guidebook when you first entered the military as a spouse, because that's what we think of it, as everybody serves in the family, how would your life have been different if you had a copy of this in your hands?
Oh, well, I think I would have felt a little bit more normal, especially going through a deployment, because I just felt so emotional during the deployment, just being a newlywed and then having to ship my husband off to war, to a combat zone. That's a little stressful.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot for anyone.
Yeah, and then throw in babies in the mix, or new babies, or babies on the way. That's typical.
Oh, it's so typical. And, I think, in the at the FRG meetings that I went to, they talked about the stages of deployment, and, that kind of helped me feel a little bit normalized in the emotions that I had surrounding the deployment. Like, okay, it's okay to feel like this right now. This is normal. It's a normal emotion for an abnormal circumstance of having your husband deployed for a year to a war zone.
Yeah.
Allison, just because of the absurdity of what it is.
Allison, we want to make sure everyone knows where they can get your book, because here we're telling everybody they can't live without it. So where can they go?
Well, they can go to my website. It's www.introtoarmylife.com, and they can buy a book there, or it's also available on Amazon in a paperback and ebook, and it's also available on Barnes & Noble in the Nook.
Awesome. That's wonderful. And we want to spell your name in case they're trying to find you. It's Allison, and the last name is Mewes. Again, that's www.introtoarmylife.com. Allison, thanks so much for being here. We're charged now. We can handle anything.
Rock on.
We're all in it together. So we just build a support network and be persistent, be our own advocate. We can all get through it. So thank you so much for having me on the show.
Well, thank you so much, and thanks to your husband for his great service to our country. On the other side of the break, our good friend Joyce Faulkner comes for another segment of Author's Corner. Stay tuned.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Parents, if you feel overloaded, overworked, underappreciated, and seriously stressed out, The Parents Plate is here to help you. The Parents Plate with Brenda Nixon. Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet. It's time to build stronger families through parent empowerment. And that's what The Parents Plate does. The Parents Plate understands the busyness of life and balancing child rearing and other commitments. Brenda Nixon will be talking to noted experts and authors on all issues, from teething to teen driving. Brenda Nixon is a nationally recognized speaker to parents and child care professionals, and author of the award-winning The Birth to 5 book. From Fox 4 in Kansas City to schools and synagogues to businesses to bookstores, conferences to churches, audiences rave that Brenda engages, educates, and encourages. For more information on Brenda and her books, check out her website, brendanixon.com. The Parents Plate is loaded with information and affirmation. The Parents Plate with Brenda Nixon. Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com. Congratulations on being the proud owner of an adorable, soft, cuddly, sweet-smelling, smiling, cooing, hungry, tired, gassy, screaming little bundle of joy. So now what? Where's the owner's manual for this thing? Where are my instructions? right here. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com. Infant care specialist Blythe Lipman has worked with babies for over 20 years and works extensively with new parents, providing workshops, in-home visits, tips, and daily phone calls to ease those frazzled nerves. With Baby and Toddler Instructions, you can get the advice you need on how to survive and enjoy your baby's first year. For more information on Blythe and how she can help you, go to babyinstructions.com. From 32 ways to stop a baby from crying to 14 ways to get a baby to eat and so much more. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com.
Put a boot in your ass, it's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and a statue of liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd. And for those of you that missed the earlier part of the show or want to tune in to some of our earlier broadcasts, you can go to militarymomtalkradio.com and find them there. You can also go to toginet.com, which is our host station. And you can also go to iTunes and download our shows for the last 3 years. There's lots of great shows on PTSD, on wounded warriors, on the programs that are available, the charities that support our military families. And speaking of charities that support our military families, I went to a Shining Service event this past week in New York City where they had done these combat cougar makeovers, Rob. And I got to tell you, the women that had these makeovers, they were so much fun. The before and after was fabulous. And one of the women that I talked to, I actually presented her to the public for Women in the Media, serving women in the military. Her name was Sabrina, and she said before her makeover that she thought her country had forgotten about her.
Oh my
Now, she had served since 1985 in the Army. 1985, that's a long time to be of service. And it was really hard for her to go into civilian life and leave that community that's there. And when she got this makeover where they did her hair, her makeup, she got new clothes, she got to talk with, counselors and all these great people that were there to help her. And these other women, there was a quartermaster there, a Marine, and a couple other Army women that were active duty in the Army. And it just really hit home, Rob, at how important we are as women first and soldiers second.
Yes. And I think it's so difficult because when we are deployed, you lose your identity. You are the arm of the mission, so to speak. And then it's very difficult to get back in to the individual that you are. So Shining Service is doing such a wonderful job in helping these women reintegrate, to get back to the people that they are after doing such an amazing job serving our country.
It is. Rob, we've had some technical difficulties bringing Joyce Faulkner on the air today, so I'd like to bring back Candi. Candi
good.
is our nannies for hire, babysitters for hire, care for hire expert, and her nanny experience goes way back, and she has so much information to share with us. I'm thinking we should bring her back. What do you think?
I'm glad she's willing to come on because we do have lots more to talk about. There is a lot of issues when you have to hire somebody to come in and take care of your children. So, Candi, thanks for being there for us.
Yes, there's so much more to talk about. I mean, when you have kids or when you need an extra pair of hands, there are so many parents like, how should I do this? What questions should I ask? Or how do I juggle this all? So there's always tips and advice that we can help parents out with.
Now, when your company lists all of these resource or potential sources, how much do you know about these people before you list them on your website?
Yeah, when whether it's a nanny from Nannies for Hire or babysitters from Babysitters for Hire, when the caregivers fill out a profile here, they fill out a very, very detailed profile. Anything from what their past child care experience is, to why they're wanting to become a nanny, to their education experience, to what hours they're looking for, their availability, to their pay, to where they've all lived. So it's definitely a very, very detailed profile that they fill out. And then you, as a family looking to hire, will actually get all that information on them as well. So that's why when we talked about this, we talked about vaguely how it's really important for families to check references and check their background check. We do not do that prior to somebody registering. We give the families all the tools to make a successful placement. We will give you sample interview questions, sample contracts that you can use as well to make sure when you're hiring somebody that you are hiring the right person as well. I mean, because so many families walk into it and they're like, well, gosh, but for my nanny, does she have to live with me? And we're like, no. A nanny can live in or live out. If you have a live-in nanny, you'll provide her with a room in either a private bath or a shared bath. And there's lots of military families, maybe, husband and wife are both in the military and they're active duty. And, a live-in nanny is the only way that they can actually juggle it all. And that's why some families hire a live-in. The majority of the families will hire a live-out nanny, and that's a nanny who will just come to your home during the hours that you need her, whether that's full-time, part-time, or even just during the summer as well.
How do you recommend somebody do a background check? I know that there are a lot of probably scam sources out there if they were to Google background check. What do you recommend for someone to do a background check?
I'm going to highly recommend that everybody that you hire, you actually definitely do a background check on them. Whether, definitely going to recommend that you do a criminal record, but if they're going to be transporting your children as well, I'm going to recommend that you do a driving record on them as well. And all of your background checks you can actually do throughout our website here at Nannies for Hire or careforhire.com. So everything will be right there on the website.
Oh, wow. That's really a great resource. Do you have men or young that are nannies?
Yeah, they're called mammies. Mammies. Yes. And believe it or not, just because you're a woman doesn't mean that you're going to be a better nanny than a mammy. For example, let's just say that you're a single mom and you have all boys. You know what? You maybe want that male role model in your home. There are men that go into elementary ed. There are men that are teachers, and they're very, very successful, and they're very, very good. That could be a situation. The other situation could be is maybe husband and wife have all boys. They're raising all boys. And, they want that. Vice versa. Maybe you're a father and you have custody, and you're raising boys or raising girls, but you want a male role model within that home. There's families that only will hire mammies, and the reason being is because maybe they're more athletic with your kids and they're rough and tough and, they don't have all the drama that the girls do or whatever it might be. So, yes, there are families out there that will only hire mammies.
Well, I love that. And actually, the reason why I asked is when I referred to my mother's helper in the earlier segment, it was a young boy that I had who was my mother's helper because at the time, it was my son who I wanted him to engage with. So he was great to get down and do little boy things with him. And actually, in our Girl Scout community, we do have men in Girl Scouting who are leaders. They are not leaders alone with the girls, but what they do is provide a wonderful male role model for some girls who just do not have a father figure or a male image or male role model in their lives. It's wonderful.
Exactly. I mean, my husband and I, we were blessed with two boys, and Yes, we do get boy babysitters and male babysitters, and my kids love it. They're outside playing football or basketball, whatever it may be. But just because they're male does not mean that they are not going to be a great babysitter. I mean, in today's economy, there's a lot of males and females that maybe even have their teaching certificate, but they can't get a job. They are going to be nannies. They're looking for, what else can I do with children and have hands-on? We get a lot of caregivers that have maybe worked in full-time daycares, and they've been teachers in daycares, and they're looking for one-on-one more with kids, and they will become nannies. But also on the other note, we get a lot of grandmas. They're called granny nannies. And some families want somebody who's a little bit older in their kids' life. Maybe their grandparents are not close by, but they want that older person they want their Alice Brady in their home.
Yes.
And they're looking for that, and so families will hire granny nannies. So the stereotype that I think some people think, nannies, they're just 16 right out of high school, is not true at all.
Right.
And a lot of them are college educated and, very well known, very well to do, have gotten that college certificate, teaching certificate, whatever it might be, but they're looking for more hands-on as well. So there's all different types of people that actually look to become nannies.
We only have a couple of minutes before the end of the show, and one question I do want to bring up. If you have a hidden camera in your house, do you tell your nanny that you've got a camera?
That's really interesting because we actually did a survey on this, and we actually surveyed our nannies and said, if your family that you worked for have nanny cam, how do you feel about that? And the response we got was, hey, if I'm doing my job, I really don't care. And so I thought that was very interesting. I mean, I think it can definitely be a conversation that you should have with her. Hey, we have a nanny cam. This is why we have a nanny cam. Once a week, we will sit down with you, and we will review the nanny cam together and talk about what happened and how I think you handled it. Or maybe next time, would you try handling it this way? Or maybe this is not working with your child. What other scenarios can we do to make that child's behavior better? It's a team effort between the nanny and the family working together to raise those children in the best manner that they can do.
Wow, that's really great advice. We want to say Candi Wingate has been named, Nannies for Hire actually has been named as one of the Inc. 500 by Inc. magazine, and you've been the recipient of Mom's Choice Award and the 2010 Nebraska Distinguished Entrepreneur of the Year Award. So that's just a little kudos to Candi and all of the effort and work that you've put in to this wonderful resource, Nannies for Hire and Babysitters for Hire and careforhire.all.com. Thanks so much for coming in and pinch hitting for us, Candi.
Anytime.
So appreciate it.
There's lots of other advice that we can give those parents, those military families as well. So definitely visit our blogs at nanniesforhire.com as well.
That's wonderful. Next week, we've got Norma Stratton to continue our Small Business Expo, and Dr. Jen Walken, a soldier, a depression expert. So we'll want to see all of what they have, as well as many, many more interesting things to come. Thanks so much for being with us today on Military Mom Talk Radio. Have a great week, everyone.